We will begin this show with breaking news into SportsCenter. Our NBA insider, Shams Charania, joining us now. Shams, you've got news on Jayson Tatum. What do you have?
Jay, sources tell me that Jayson Tatum has been fully cleared to play this season and is expected to make his season debut for the Celtics on Friday at home at TD Garden against the Dallas Mavericks. This comes less than 10 months after he underwent surgery for a ruptured Achilles tendon. And in the last 24 hours, Tatum has been described to me as ready to go. He's checked all the boxes. The Celtics have not pressured him throughout this process, throughout his rehab. They've allowed him to be in the driver's seat and lead this. And he's been playing 5-on-5s for well over the last month, increasing his conditioning, increasing the strength in his Achilles, his calf, his feet. And now with 19 games left in the Celtics season, a team that's trying to contend for a championship, Jayson Tatum is on his way back, likely on Friday.
Man, less than 10 months is not a typical recovery for Achilles. He's way ahead of schedule. What's been behind his rehab?
Jay, Jayson Tatum made it his mission to play this season. So you think about ever since the day he underwent surgery, he set a goal for himself. He had daily 2-3 sessions for his rehab. It's a strenuous process, and my understanding is he traveled to every road game. He attended every practice for the Celtics this season. And so now 295 days after the injury, 294 days after surgery, he is set to return, and he has championship aspirations. He has aspirations of contending and competing. You think about him and Jaylen Brown. They are as successful as a young duo as we've seen in this NBA. They've been to 5 conference finals, 2 NBA finals, 1 championship together. And Jayson Tatum is trying to come back late here this season to try to lift this team into championship contention.
All right, Shams Charania with the latest. Jayson Tatum is back. Thank you, sir. Breaking news from the NBA. Shams Charania reporting Jayson Tatum is expected to make his season debut for the Celtics tomorrow against Dallas, 7 Eastern, ESPN. The 6-time All-Star tearing his Achilles in the playoffs in May and progressing to practicing with the team. It looks like he'll be back on the court tomorrow night. NBA reporter Ramona Shelburne with us. Ramona, you spoke to Jayson Tatum throughout his rehab process. What did he tell you about the challenge of getting back to good health?
You know, I saw him maybe a couple weeks ago in Los Angeles, and he essentially said to me, he goes, just every single day is so monotonous. It's the same thing over and over and over. But his North Star has always been the idea that he could come back this year and give the Celtics a chance in the playoffs, that he can get back and play where he left off last year. I don't think he ever realized they would be as good as they were this year without him. But the fact that he can come back with a team that is top 3 in the Eastern Conference is pretty incredible. And that started really the morning after he was injured at Madison Square Garden. He had surgery before swelling could set in, which basically put his timeline a month ahead of schedule from what a typical Achilles tendon repair would be. Because if you have surgery that morning, you can come back faster. Otherwise, they have to wait for the swelling to go down. And you know where he learned that from? His idol, Kobe Bryant, who did the same thing when he tore his Achilles about a decade ago.
You know this game very well. What does a healthy Tatum mean for Boston the rest of the season?
Well, a healthy Tatum or Jayson Tatum when we saw in the playoffs last year, the question is going to be his level. He's a really good basketball player, right? But he hasn't played in a game in almost a year. And so I think it's going to be a question of how well is he going to be, how close to his top form is he going to be, and how quickly is it going to take him to get there? I know the challenge the last month has really just been about getting him enough time on the practice court, scrimmage time, building up that cardio. And so I compare it a little to what we saw at the beginning of the year with LeBron James, where he said, you know, the first couple games, like your wind is not there. You have to build that cardio up, and the only way to do that is in game situations. So obviously, you're going to see a bit limited Jayson Tatum, but he's still a really good basketball player. Somebody very close to him told me the other day he's going to be a good player when he gets back out there. The question is, how much of himself can he be?
All right, Ramona, thank you much. Stay right there because we want to get your thoughts on the West in just a sec. For now, the Celtics, well, they're favorites to win the East at plus 240. The C's have narrowed the margin in the last few weeks. Back on February 10th, when Tatum was sent to the G League, Boston was plus 380 to win the East. They've moved up to their shortest odds to win yet this season. Back in October, the Celtics were as far back as plus 1,500.